Hey guys, Mr. Yeisley here. So we are finishing up the final sections of Chapter 8, all about graphing quadratic functions. And in these last couple of sections, beginning with lesson number 16 here, we're going to talk about writing quadratic functions. So how do we actually derive these quadratic functions when we're given some information about them? In lesson 16, we're going to explain the process of how to write a quadratic function when we're given the vertex. So when we are given the vertex. Now just a reminder that the vertex is always h, k in a quadratic function, h, k. So what we're really going to do when we're given the vertex is we're going to plug the coordinates into the vertex form. So we've learned about vertex form, which is this f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So we're going to first plug in the h, of course, and then remember this always starts as a subtraction symbol, and then if we're putting in a negative number, we're going to end up with a double negative, and we'll go from there. And then we're going to put in the k. It works exactly as it should, so don't forget about that. Whereas the h, again, starts with that subtraction, and it could potentially flip. Right? Once we've done that, then we're simply going to solve it to get it into quadratic form. So we're going to simplify it down. Now, a, typically in all these problems that we're going to see, they're not going to give us an a. So we need to assume that a is going to be equal to 1. All right? Unless they tell you otherwise, you assume that there is no vertical stretch or shrink taking place, and so you just put in a as 1. And then again, as we said, we're going to solve that down and to get into quadratic form. Now remember, quadratic form is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we should look like a standard trinomial essentially when we end up. And that's really all the process is to that. We've got to identify the vertex, what's h, what's k, plug that information in, and then we're going to simplify it down to get it into quadratic form. All right, well, if you want to click over to the next video on lesson number 17, we'll go through some examples of how this process looks.